Negative equity is inevitable. Let's have a look. Hello everyone, Florian here and welcome to another episode of HeiseSays. Grab your stein of coffee and let's look at this article from Yahoo News because it's certainly an interesting topic, particularly for all the Kiwi viewers of the channel. So negative equity is looming for some home owners, but you only need to worry if you need to sell. Now, there's been a lot of talk about negative equity, a lot of fear surrounding negative equity. People thinking the banks will ring you up and kick you out of your house or demand a huge payment to get you out of negative equity. I spoke to a mortgage broker mate, and he pretty much said, yeah, that's not going to happen. They don't want to go through the pain or hassle unless they really have to. If you're just chugging along, they won't care. So let's have a look. I think the worst consequence of negative equity will be people unable to borrow or move around to their different banks. They'll be trapped with one bank. So let's have a look at this by Stephen Hickson. It feels like a perfect storm is building. The rising cost of living and higher interest rates are putting household budgets under stress. And falling house prices could push some home owners into negative equity. On the one hand, the drop in house prices is a good thing, as it makes housing more affordable, particularly for young people. And we want that. Well, people say they want that, but I think that's bullshit, to be honest. People say they want more affordable housing, but not really. They like to feel wealthy. They like to have all the accumulated wealth. Deep down. Not everyone, but I think it's evident that the majority do. Look at our politicians. But every transaction has two sides. Dropping house prices are bad for those who need or want to sell their house, or who hold most of their wealth in their home. These people are now markedly poorer. In September 2017, the average house in New Zealand cost $666,000. By 22, prices have peaked at $1 million. And I'm sure that's NZ dollars, but still, that's just, look at that growth, guys. 400,000 in 5 years. 5 years. But by September 22, the average house price has slipped to $956,000. The downward trend may continue for a while yet. Some 32% of New Zealand households have a mortgage on their primary residence, with the median property debt increased to $260,000 by the year ended 21, up $56,000 over the past 3 years. Now, median is smack bang in the middle. So that means on your distribution of data here, you've got 50% above the median and 50% below. So if this is 260,000, 50% of the values are above that. Because 260 it's nothing, honestly. It doesn't see it. You wouldn't struggle to manage a mortgage of that amount. Let's have a look here. We'll bring up my favorite Excel file that I've been using tracking interest rates here in Australia. Now, Australia, the average mortgage is $544,000. And if we change that to 260, oh wait, need to enable editing. 260, you're looking at on 1.99% under $1,000 repayments for a 30-year mortgage. 4.44, which is a higher variable, you're looking at $1,300. You got a 5%, $1,400. So still not that bad, everyone. I mean, the delta change in your repayments is going to be bloody high, but compared to the average in Australia, that seems really low. Increased to 200? Has it increased by 260? Is that really all it is? So that shows you. I mean, that's back in the day, the older people that got their mortgages. We need to see what the median is since 2017. That's what we need to see, what the median is of new loans, because they're the ones that are really going to cop it. The old guys that bought before then, we don't need to worry about you, okay? Honestly, we don't need to worry about you. If you've got a mortgage at $217,000, $260,000, and interest rates go up, you're going to be fine. If you can't manage that, even with the interest rates much higher, you just got to get a better job, okay? That's the reality of it. So, a looming threat. For most homeowners, a small or even moderate fall in the value of their home won't make any practical difference. Their homes will still probably be worth more now than it was 2 years ago, and it'll still be worth more than their mortgage. Yep. And yeah, I mean, that's for us that have bought a while ago. And not even that long ago, 5 years ago probably. However, for those whose mortgage is a high fraction of the value of their home, those who bought property in 2021 when rates were low and house prices high, for example, the risk is that they will fall into negative equity. A borrower enters negative equity if the value of their home drops below the value of their mortgage. For around 2% of New Zealand mortgage holders, this threat has become a reality. So 2% are at risk of going into negative equity, or have gone into negative equity. But is it time to panic? Well, probably not. As long as you don't need to sell your house and you can sustain your mortgage payments, then negative equity doesn't matter all that much. You can just wait it out. Yeah, I mean, that's what I've heard. I wouldn't be surprised. That said, negative equity can become more of an issue when other economic issues, rising inflation, unemployment, or interest rates rear their heads. You know what it is. You know what it is, guys. It's relationship breakdowns. You've got money troubles. Maybe someone's lost a job. Maybe there's a divorce, and then you're in negative equity. You're forced to sell. Yeah, it can be tough. So, contributing risk factors. Let's start with interest rate. Rising interest rates are making debt more expensive. Local media are already publishing stories of white-collar workers struggling to pay their mortgages. But aren't the blue-collar workers, the tradies, the ones that earn more money? Yes, interest rates are rising, but they are still relatively low. The floating rate for a mortgage is currently 6.8%. Prior to the 2008 GFC, this interest rate tier hit a peak of 10.9%. Wow, it's been high in New Zealand. That said, interest rates fell over the course of the GFC, while rates are currently rising. Furthermore, the level of debt held by many households is now higher since people had to take on bigger mortgages as house prices rose. Bigger debt levels makes higher interest rates harder to cope with. Unemployment will make negative equity a bigger issue. Currently, New Zealand's unemployment rate is historically low, meaning most people with a mortgage can feel relatively secure in their job or job prospects, but it won't stay there. Won't stay that way. The low unemployment makes it harder for the Reserve Bank of New Zealand to rein in inflation, particularly if wages continue to rise. The Reserve Bank of New Zealand has been clear that New Zealand needs to get ready for a rise in unemployment, with some economists saying 50,000 New Zealanders would need to lose their jobs to bring inflation under control. Rises in both unemployment and interest rates at the same time will increase the chance that some highly leveraged mortgage holders get into problems. So did we learn from the GFC? Negative equity was a big problem during the 2008 GFC as house prices fell and banks accumulated bad loans. This issue hit the United States and parts of Europe particularly hard. But that doesn't mean we're heading into the same place now. Following the 2008 crisis, New Zealand's lending rules changed, requiring banks to be more cautious when lending. In 2021, these rules were refined even further. The number of low equity loans that banks could make was reduced, and banks had to look more closely at a borrower's ability to repay debt. Now, we had similar things here in Australia, where APRA was requiring there to be a repayment buffer of 3% on the loans. The thing is now buyers are hitting that interest rates are hitting that level where buyers are getting, hang on, I've got to check my collar, I'll fix it up now, are hitting that repayment buffer. So, yeah, let's hope rates don't go too much higher. Knock wood. Some of these requirements have certainly made it harder for first-home buyers, perhaps overly so, but it has reduced the risks to our financial system. This time around, there will be fewer borrowers with mortgages that are a high fraction of the value of their house, and fewer who can't maintain higher mortgage repayments. Banks also have no incentive to push people into default on their mortgage. This is especially true when there is negative equity. The bank doesn't win if they force the sale of a home and get back less than they were owed. And the headline, "Bank Evicts Mum with 2 toddlers," never plays well. So expect banks to work hard with any struggling mortgage holders to help them keep paying the mortgage. The immediate future is not going to be pleasant for many borrowers. The RBNZ must get inflation down. Doing that will not be easy, and homeowners should prepare for higher interest rates. But negative equity is not a problem, providing you don't need to sell your house and you can afford to pay your mortgage. Even if unemployment rises to 7%, which is just above the post-GFC peak, that would still mean 93% employment rate. Most people will be in work, living in their house and paying their mortgage, even those with negative equity. So, there you go. Let's have a talk about this one. I think this is a valuable perspective to take on board. There's a lot of fear around negative equity. The news just magnifies anything negative. That's what it does. I can do a positive video here on a positive topic and people won't watch it. So that's why you'll hear it. You'll hear it. It'll get out there. We'll have the sob stories, we'll have the fear, and people will be concerned. But the reality is you just got to soldier on. You got to take care of your own. Remember, charity begins at home, and prepare for tougher times. And that's probably by cutting back on your expenses and meeting all your repayments. But still, housing has just gone insane in New Zealand. It's just nuts. Anyway, guys, thanks for watching. Like, share, subscribe to the channel, and check out my other... I'm going to sneeze. Check out HeiseBim and HeiseSays International for other content I create. If you want to support the channel, you can financially on YouTube or Patreon. Use our referral links, buy our pocket squares, or call us if you need an architect. Take care, everyone. Have a great day, and I'll see you in the next episode of HeiseSays. Bye for now.